Hello and welcome to another edition of the program this week. The relevance of information technology in any given society, especially in the 21st century, cannot be overemphasized. Thus, the reasons why several countries of the world, either developed or developing, spend a lot of time and money in making sure they're not left behind in this era of modernization, which has contributed in no small measure to drive global economy. Now, having said that, Nigeria is by no means different from the rest of the world, as government continues in its quest to see that IT development leads the country to be counted amongst the 20 leading economies by the year 2020. Therefore, we beam our searchlight on the National Information Technology Development Agency to find out what exactly it has been up to since its establishment and what challenges or constraints, if you like, it has had to deal with in trying to meet its vision, which is to be the prime agency and catalyst for transforming Nigeria into a knowledge-based and IT-driven economy. Joining us in the program this week is Professor Cleopas Angaye, Director General of NITDA, to share more light into the activities of the agency and share his views on where Nigeria currently stands in the deployment of information technology under his guidance. Please stay with us. I'm Ayotunde Balogun. It's question time. Professor Cleopas Angaye, you're welcome to question time.
Thank you, Ayo.
Now, you as the Director General of the National Information Technology Development Agency, it has been a wonderful experience, if I may say, looking at how you've been able to gather all the staffs and indeed every other stakeholder as it concerns IT in this country, information technology, to ensure that we move that sector forward. Been there for, say, like roughly 8 years. Now, let's start off right away looking at the national IT policy. I mean, the implementation of the national IT policy, which government has already entrusted into the hands of the agency, talking about NITDA. Has the agency been able to deliver on its mandate, in trying to make Nigeria an IT-capable country in no distant future?
Yes, when I was appointed a DG back in 2005, we had there was no act for the agency. We got an act in April 2007. And since then, we have done a lot of things. First thing I would like to do is capacity building. We have trained a lot of people in the industry, both in the public and private sector. Back in 2009, we trained 6,100 unemployed graduates. 2006, we trained 600 people for skills development. And through the past 4 or 5 years, we have been training up to about 1,500 unemployed IT graduates throughout the country in each state. We have done a lot in internet penetration throughout the states. When I first came in, the penetration of IT in the country was, in fact, Nigeria was rated about 192, 193 rating in IT globally. But right now, we're about 91, 92 rating globally. Back in Africa, we are number 1. We have about 50 million IT penetration in the country right now. Still on capacity building, back in 2010, we started a scholarship for graduates. We now have a graduate scheme where we train IT graduates in masters and PhD. So far, 19 of our master students have come back to the country, working in several areas in capacity building. Institutional development, you may recall that back in 2005, 2006, our domain registration was done outside the country. But now, you must have heard of NIRA, which actually does domain registration in the country. That is one of the achievements we have got. Still on IT penetration, 2007 we started a very small project which we call Rural Information Technology Centers, which actually brings IT centers to grassroots in rural areas and unserved communities. Currently, we have over 300 of them scattered throughout the country. Just last week, I was in Ogun State, where we commissioned up to 7 of the projects that were actually nurtured by the agency. We 182 graduates passed out after extensive training on IT for 6 months, and we matriculated 200, all in Ogun State, which was very impressive. Still on what we have done so far, 2010 we had a fairly different scheme, apart from the rural information technology. Those ones are actually in rural communities. But 2010, we thought that, these centers are more applicable in institutions, secondary schools, colleges of education, polytechnics, universities. Currently, we have over 140 of them scattered in our institutions. And we actually see that the students are very excited because most people who want to actually use computers can now use them. And how are these, these institutions using it? We have solar panels, they are solar powered. We have a VSAT. We have other computing equipments that actually are used in all those centers.
Now, Professor, I don't know if you'll agree with me that it seems most of our primary schools in the country right now aren't really getting enough in terms of making IT available to them as it obtains in most parts of the world, the developed world in particular. What can you say about this trend?
We have done even something more. We had a program in 2006 called Catch Them Young. A Catch Them Young program, we launched it in 2 states, Kaduna and Delta State. What we did was we now went with a training scheme for 2 weeks, where we now train them